Hello, and thanks for watching this demonstration of the Acumatica Manufacturing Edition. So to get started, right now when we log into Acumatica, we're looking at a manufacturing dashboard. Now this dashboard was configured to display key performance indications about our manufacturing process, our statistics. You can see at the top, these are the work orders that we need to invoice. You can see the total machine costs and the quantity trends, total costs and labor. We have lists for production process orders. And you can see our top manufacturing customers for make-to-order customers, our latest purchase receipts, and much, much more. And it's important to note that you can configure this based on the user role or the personal user, and there's a lot of flexibility with it. So for the purposes of our demo, we're going to go through building a Keurig Model 450 machine. This is our inventory profile. Let's take a look at it. So the first thing is our type is a finished good, but we can do components and sub-assemblies. So you have a lot of flexibility here as to the item we're creating and whether or not it's a bill of material component or a sub-assembly of something else. Now notice that this particular item, there's a lot of different settings in our inventory profile. It's a good idea to look at some of our other Acumatica demos to get more in-depth information about all these fields. But a couple other notes here. This is a serialized item. Our valuation method is set to average, but because it's serial, it's going to be specific to the item. Let's go over to the manufacturing tab. So this is the default bill of materials. So anytime we need to produce this, we use this bill of materials. When we put this on an order, we can tell it to purchase the item or produce it. You can see this is a make-to-order item. It's also factored into our MRP and our forecasting. And you could see here under replenishments, our source for this is to manufacture it. So you have a number of options there as well. Based on our sourcing, notice we have a safety stock and we have a minimum order quantity that we want to keep on hand. And you also have max order quantity so that as soon as I get to my min, I'll order up to my max based on any other additional demands too. So if my minimum is 1, my max is, let's say, 10. Ordinarily I'd order 9, but if there was additional demands from sales orders or if there was some items on hand, then that would change my manufacturing quantity. Lastly, we also have a manufacturing lead time. So this uses the lead time and can calculate when we need to manufacture this item based on the lead time to meet the demand in the rest of the company, such as sales orders. So in my bill of materials screen, you can see a few things. Here's the inventory ID associated to this bill of materials, the warehouse we're producing it for, the starting date. So this particular bill of materials has an effective date and possibly an ending date. So for example, if we were going to change this to a different production style or a different set of quantities or production procedures could be used here. Notice the revision as well. So we can have multiple revisions, and based on the revisions, that could also impact your start and ended date. Here's the description, and the status is active. Now, over here, I have my operations. These are the operations required to make this a finished good. And they're occurring in different work centers. So work centers, if we drill into a work center, that gives you your capacity. So my work center is based out of this warehouse. It has a standard cost associated with it. The basis for capacity is based on crew size, but it could also be based on machines. This handles what my scrap action is. Do I write it off or do I quarantine the items? And also we have the ability to backflush, and we'll talk about that more later. And these are the shifts. So we can have multiple shifts based on certain time periods. And our shifts and our machines, how many crews and how many machines, we have the capacity for this shift. and what labor code's being used. Now, if we go back to our bill of materials, again, you could see the different operations required to create this item. So we have an assembly and we have an inspection phase. And if we maximize this a little bit, we can see on the assembly phase, we have a different setup time, a run units, run time, machine time, and we have the ability to backflush labor. So backflushing anything allows us to use what's in the production order, in this case coming from the bill of materials, in order to determine our costs. If you don't backflush, you can do that also, and then you record specific transactions against this operation for this production order. So for example, we talk about this operation and we talk about the labor to do this, we would record labor transactions against this. So all those labor transactions from different employees could report into this operation for this item, for this production order against this work center, and that will accrue all your labor against this production. But if you backflush labor, the system will use these values and the standard costs against them. Now at the bottom, you can see the different materials that we need to complete this operation. And once again, the same thing with backflush, we have the ability to backflush items. So these items and their quantities and their costs will be pulled into the production order. There's no need to associate items against the production order. However, if I keep the backflush off, then I would create a material transaction to associate these items and its quantities against the production order. At that time, I could also associate serial numbers and whatnot. But moving ahead, the steps for this are predefined. You can have different steps with notes and diagrams here. You can add your different tools and your associated overhead. So to recap on the bill of materials, if we backflush, the only thing required to do here is to complete our operational steps, and Acumatica will do everything and associate the costs with regards to this production. So let's create a production order. We'll go into our production orders and we'll click New. Now keep in mind that our MRP or our sales orders have the ability to produce these production orders on demand or when necessary. So, but in this case, we're going to create it ourselves. So we'll go down, we'll pick our Keurig machine. We'll pick our order date. Currently the status is in planned. We want to produce 5 of these, and let's save it. So a few things on this screen. The first is we have a different scheduling method where we can tell it when to start and when to finish. And we have certain constraints that can calculate these dates. If we go to references, we can see things like if there was a customer assigned. Keep in mind, we talked about how the production order can be created from various areas through Acumatica based on demand. We can also create it from a sales order. So from a sales order, I can produce a production order that's made to order for that customer. In those scenarios, the customer would show up here, but you can still reference the customer simply by selecting it here. Notice our financial settings come in from the item. Our source is the bill of materials, but we can also configure a source for the estimate or a configuration. So you have the ability to produce this item based on various different types, an estimate, a configuration, but in this case, we're going to use the default bill of material, which is defined here. It came in. That's the default bill of material we showed earlier. And the revision could be different revisions. And this is a great screen. This shows the event history. So it's a chronological timeline of everything that's happened with this production order. To date, we've only created it, and it was admin who created it. And you'll see this populate, and we'll go back to this a little later. The other nice screen here is totals. So this gives us a running total of our planned labor and labor amounts, machine amounts, the material costs, our fixed overhead, and if there's any variables to it, what we're producing, and what our planned total is, and the unit cost. And of course, unit cost is divided by 5. Now, this is our actual, and this is our variance. It should be noted that if you're doing backflush, then typically you won't have a variance because what we planned is exactly the costs that are going to be sent through to the item. Now, if we go into production order details, we have the ability to make changes. So you can come in here and maybe backflush certain items. You can change your runtime units. And you could make some changes, even though the bill of materials had our steps configured for us and our runtime units and the items needed to make the item, we could still make changes on the fly. Now, one of the other things we can do is a concept called critical material. Now, Acumatica is going to go out, and based on the demand, it's saying these are the items we need in order to produce this production order. Now, this particular screen is showing everything, but of course, from MRP, we can purchase everything we need or manufacture. If these are sub-assemblies and a reservoir inlet needs to be produced in order to go into stock, then we could also manufacture. As you can see here, this is a manufacturing replenishment source. So you can check off the items you need, and you could either purchase and manufacture. Again, one would take care of the purchase items, the other would take care of the manufacture items. Or you can transfer from a different warehouse. Acumatica has multiple warehouse options. So for this, we're going to purchase the items we need. We're going to purchase from this vendor, Pure Water, which is the default vendor for those particular items. And this is our purchase order. We'll take it off hold and we'll receive it into stock. And we'll just print the purchase order out. My demo site requires me to print before I can do anything, and to email before I can do anything. So now I'll receive the purchase order. And to make it nice and easy, I'll create my bill on the fly too. Now, again, you notice as I click on these items, there's nothing in stock. However, as soon as this gets released, and I go back and I refresh, you can see the quantities have been updated. And this is useful. You could see every item, what you have on hand, what you have available, and so on. So now that the items are in stock, we need to do a move. Because these items aren't backflushed, what we'll do is a materials transaction and move these items and allocate them to the production order. So let's go back and release our order to the production floor. And we'll release our material. So this brings up our material wizard, and these items will get assigned to that production order. This is very useful because when we're doing our physical inventory, we want these items allocated and not available for the physical inventory because our quantities are going to be off when we go to count them. So we'll select them. That'll bring up our material document. And what you see here is a document in Acumatica that shows the items that we're moving to the production order. And we also have the ability to assign serial numbers. So if there are serial numbers that we can assign, we can select it right here. And when we're ready, we can uncheck this and release. So now, if we go back to our production order, notice our status is in process now because we just created our first transaction. We released it, then it's in process. If we go to event history, you can see at the bottom, we now have a transaction for materials. And notice the batch number here will give us a link back to that material transaction. You'll also see the totals. So we now see $610 and change on the materials. So giving us our work in progress. Now, again, if we go into the production detail, and we take a look, we notice that our assembly process is not backflushing labor. So it requires us to enter our labor transactions. So if we go back to our production order, we come in under production and we click on labor. We'll open that up in another tab. We can create a labor transaction and we can select the labor to the order, to the production number. So this is the one we're working on. What operation we did. We're in the middle of assembly. Who the employee is. What shift I'm in. And you could either use the start time or end time to calculate the total labor, or you could just fill it in. So 00, half an hour maybe. And then I could take it off hold and release. Now, this transaction can be done here. We also have mobile options, which allow you to scan the job, the production order that you're doing, the employee, and clock in and clock out. Okay, so now if we go back to our production order maintenance and refresh the screen and go into our totals, we can now see that $33 in labor that we created here. Now, when we're all done, we can create a move transaction. And the move is the final transaction. Now, Acumatica gives you a lot of flexibility in that if you were backflushing labor and materials, this is the final step, and this is the only step you need to do in order to complete the production order. So if we go here and take this off hold, we select the quantity that we're looking to produce, the final quantity, because we could use a partial quantity. Maybe we only finish 2, but if we complete everything we need to when we release this, we can now go and actions complete the order. And we're done. Now we produce quantity 5 of these Keurig units. So let's take a quick look at MRP. So Acumatica gives you the ability to have a production schedule. So you can produce any number of items that you want. So maybe I need to create these items and I need to create 5 of them per month, and whatever the bill of material is. Additionally, we can also do a forecast. So Acumatica will look at the demand. It's telling us we need to create quantity 2. And in order to make up for demand, we should start on 11/1. So one of the things I like to talk about with our MRP, in that it looks at all demand, forecasting, and sales history, and it gives you recommendations. But we always like to discuss the manufacturing process in Acumatica as simple as you need it to be, but as complex as your business grows. So whereas MRP isn't necessary in the beginning for you, you can always grow into it. So, and with this MRP, we have the ability to take into consideration when purchases need to be made, when the work orders are required, including all mins and maxes, lead times, calculate our suggestions. We consider the source, the promise date. All of these come together to calculate the MRP. So thanks for watching this demo on Acumatica's Manufacturing Edition. This is just a taste of our manufacturing. Acumatica won the Best Manufacturing Solution by the Cody Awards. So it's a very deep solution, but also simple to use. And it runs on the best ERP platform, and that is Acumatica. So if you have any additional questions, at the end of the video is our contact information. Feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks again.